Oh, this is going to be a special one. This is going to be a special one. Each and every day that I spend together with all of you certainly is very special. This is CTM, everyone. Laser focused, making sure that we stay on top of the bull of all bulls. The most important trade that matters. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. If you're new here, welcome. There could not be a better place for you to be. I am so glad that you are here. It is good that you are here. Bitcoin trading at $55,667. The markets are not crashing. Let's take a look at everything today. We've got the first thing that I woke up to this morning, by the way, was this. This is the first tweet I saw this morning, and it says, look, CTM headquarters, always in control. We got command center over here. Look at this beautifulness. This is CTM all day long. By the way, if you just do hashtag CTM, you know, there are certain days that I'm not as involved, not able to be as involved, and the community is rocking along together. Hashtag CTM all day long. But you can see over here lining up the cycles exactly where we are. The awareness of CTM in the community is absolutely astonishing. And look how he's gone ahead and timed the days of the moves over here. This is like rocket ship and everything. What a joy to see that this morning. The second tweet that I saw this morning, right? But by the way, last night, Jordan, CTM has completely changed my trading outlook on how I position my investment in crypto. Can't thank you and the team enough. CTM all day, every day. This is the second tweet I saw this morning. Look, we have never been so patient. I never would have been so patient in this trade without your guidance. Thank you. It is all so clear. And that's what we have here is the clarity. Look at the clarity we have. By the way, look at Ian just even bringing it. Team Randall, Michelle, big shout out to you. Oh, today we get to play a little bit of what? Three Little Birds. That's for sure. Look over here. Ian pointing out to us. Look at this is the first cycle, by the way. Look at the incline that it came into the shakeout. It was very steep. And then look how it came out. Very steep over here. 2017, you know, it's actually coming in still pretty steep. This time it's come in very almost, let's say, more horizontal in comparison to the rest. And you could see the way out is also being more horizontal. Now, I thought it was going to be a V. I genuinely thought it was going to be a V. Yesterday, I was live with Brad yesterday preparing today's training session, right? And while we were talking, I said, listen, Brad, if it breaks down below outside of this beautiful channel you have drawn in here, then I'm no longer going to say that it was a V and that it was quick and a sharp. And since then, we dropped down out of there, right? Now, Randall giving that clarity. I'm sorry, Randall. Ian from Team Randall giving that clarity over here, showing that, well, listen, we came in here a little bit more horizontal. The V is actually a little less horizontal. It all lines up. It all makes sense. It's all beautiful. Brad over here also has this other yellow box over here, by the way. This is 20 days, right, from the low, showing what happened last cycle for the recovery to take place for 65,000. I love CTM's awareness over here. You guys are conquering the markets all day long with that beautiful clarity. Another post over here, I'm just pointing out, look, this is so bullish, it's ridiculous. We've been going sideways now for 80 days consolidating, right? Look over here. Let me just pull up my other version over here. I did the same thing last night before going to bed. I just drew this line myself. Vertical line, 80 days, showing that, you know, since February, we're trading at the same price. By the way, when you look at price appreciating and then consolidating towards its highs like this, he pointed out, by the way, when I say he, who is this? This is Crypto Vader. I already liked it. Perfect. He's pointing out, look, we've also made some new all-time highs along the way during this consolidation. This is bullish price action like I've never seen before. But some people are saying, you know what, Jordan, it's a head and shoulders. It's a head and shoulders. Look, this is the left shoulder, and that's the head, and that's the right shoulder. And I guess if that's the case, there's your neckline, and, have fun. But, oh, no, Jordan, that's not it. It's a double shoulder. Double shoulder. You ever see Double Rainbow? It's a double left shoulder with a head, and that's your right shoulder, Jordan. So you could draw your neckline like that, all right? Well, there you go. Listen, guys, stop looking for head and shoulders. Just stop it. Just stop it. But what I do see clearly over here, after us not being able to hold the breakout above the last line over here, that price so far, you can see that is now being resistance. No big deal. Looking good. Let's see what happens over there. Greg, I love the video this morning. 1-800-TACOS. Listen, what's going on? What I see happening, just very clearly, I want to focus quickly on the technicals before I get into some of the other stuff that we have to share today. What a beautiful moment to be here together with all of you. By the way, if you're watching on the replay, lots of love to you. Smash the like button if you're here live. Let's get going, everyone. Let's get going. We got to get going. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. I was focusing in on a couple of things you all know. First, I had this line of resistance over here, right? And then I cloned it. I threw it down here as support. And then up here is resistance, yada, yada, yada. And then yesterday, as we left off, I had this little bit of a rising channel over here that we broke down out of. We broke down at it, and what happened? We stopped down at that support. You see that? And now we're just in between range, right? So what happens? I could clean up that little bit. That's my football coach drawing, right? Did anyone see Ted Lasso on I guess it's Apple TV? That's a funny one. That's a funny one over there. So look, we're between range right now, right? We're between the support and we're between the resistance, and we're consolidating. We're consolidating at a nice on-ramp, waiting and getting ready for the launch. That's how I see it. Could we drop down? Of course. I think, was it this one? No, it wasn't. It was that last tweet I just made sure that I liked from Crypto Vader that put out the levels on the downside of what we're looking at. We're always watching our risk to the downside. We're always watching our risk to the downside. Actually, yesterday in the Lightly Leveraged Discord channel, we put out the levels that you would lighten up your leverage positions, or at least that I would. And we looked at that closely. We're not going to do that now. Brad, love your artistry. By the way, this was the exit, right? Remember the channel that we were focused in on? Let me see if I could just go like this really quick. Remember the channel we were focused in on? And then on the breakdown of the channel support, there you go, see Brad's exit. Throwing in the Conquering the Markets line of repair for the breakout over there, positioning in long. And since he's, exited here, entered here, he's sitting pretty. Conquering the markets all day long. It's who we are, and it's what we do. And I love working with all of you. Speaking of which, we have over here, we have Alan AU, lots of love, my brother, putting out the CTM dashboard. I'm not going to be covering the on-chain analytics. He will through his Twitter. He'll be sharing to the community what's going on-chain through the Twitter over here. He's put together a couple of metrics that he's interested in watching. And when it's time to share, we will highlight all of that. Thank you, Alan Au. We are grateful for it and appreciate the team that we have here, which is like no other. Now, before we get into the title of today's video and it's important to talk about right now. We're going to talk about it. Look at that. Look at that. Lots of love from everyone. Thank you for smashing the like button. Thank you for helping support the channel and my work. I'm really grateful for it. No, thank you. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. So what are we looking at? Before we get into looking at what's going on with the markets here, we see the Nasdaq down. It's bleeding out. Futures down 15 minutes before the equity markets open. Futures down 2%. Before we get into it, just a friendly reminder. Just a friendly reminder.
The markets are not crashing.
The markets are not crashing, right? What's going on with the markets? What's going on with the Nasdaq? Is this because of Tesla, like let's say, China rising, right? Pulling back on China a little bit, shares down 7%. Is this because of, what inflation's real? Do you remember everyone back in March 2020 on this channel when the Fed expanded their balance sheet by $4.1 trillion and the guy with the paper hat was like, that's deflationary? And we're like, no, that's inflationary. It's going to be, and then now is the market, specifically tech, pricing in this inflation? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. What we're looking at over here, though, is that since January, since the new year, right, when we find the 4th of January, when the market, can you imagine the markets were closed for 4 days? What kind of market is that? Up 2%, 2.75%. By the way, peaked out up 10% for the year. The average equity return historically is somewhere around 8%. Do you think that equities were attractive after being up 10% on the year? Right? Rewind 2020, Fed acted by mid-April, we're like, okay, from now on in, you can't sell stocks, you got to buy stocks. Until we got to like August, then we're like, you know what? They're no longer attractive. Let's get into what's attractive. So when the markets were up 10% already for the year, do you think that funds were like still putting money into stocks? Or do you think it was time to take some profits off the table? We said this year the plan for equity markets, by the way, was to stay away unless there was a correction. If there was a correction at that point, they would become attractive. Now, we're correcting a little bit right now, right? How much are we correcting? On the Nasdaq, 7%. By the way, this was just a couple of months ago, or not even, back in February, we corrected 12%. Right? Is this yet attractive or do we do what? Here's how we do it. Let's take a look really quick. First line of repair, coming close, looking in right now, from where we are right now, we're not even close to it. Step aside, wait for you ever like throw something into a lake, like step into a lake and kick up all the sand, let it settle. Patience, young grasshopper. Let it settle, and then when it's time to attack, be there ready to attack. You are a predator. What's going on with the S&P 500? Oh, I don't know, Jordan. That seems to be consolidating right under all-time high so far. Oh. All right. Well, what about the Dow? How's that looking? Oh, well, it's just off the new all-time highs. Am I going to keep selling all-time highs on the equity markets? Well, that's a good way to lose all your money really quickly. Look. Step aside. So what happens though, by the way? Do you remember? Let's go to a daily chart. Let's go to a daily time frame over here. Do you remember that I said we were coming? This was a big psychological, let's say, it had a huge effect on a lot of people, a lot of traders, right? Those macro guys, it took them 1 year to catch up to what was going on. Those guys who consider themselves professionals, it took them 1 year to catch up to CTM. By the way, we were the first ones to be selling this to the downside, right? And then Sven, big shout out to Sven at North Trade or Grum or some whatever, right? As soon as he's always calling for a market crash, the market's crashed, and then he's like, that's the bottom. Oh my goodness. How, like contrarian much? You got to stay on the flow. By the way, we didn't do it at the time. But look, how about them apples? Conquering the markets all day long. What I'm getting to is at this period over here, people were very worried what was going to happen to Bitcoin. People were very worried what was going to happen to the bull market in Bitcoin as I'm trying to get everyone to position in before the halving. And they said, well, what happens if stock markets crash? And I kept telling you over and over and over and over again, wait until you see the first quarter of 2021. Bitcoin is going to start breaking all correlations. Right? What happened, by the way, in the first quarter of 2001? What happened January? Well, Bitcoin went in 3 weeks. It went from 20,000 to $40,000, destroying all correlations. And then what was the next thing I said to you? The next thing I said to you is wait to the third quarter, 2021. Wait to the third quarter, 2001. What's going on in September, end of August? As it's going to destroy all correlations. It doesn't matter what's going on in the stock market. If we have any type of liquidity crisis that will definitely affect Bitcoin, That is not happening. We have an overabundance of them dollars. The Fed created 30% of all dollars in circulation last year. They just, Powell started clicking his keyboard, hitting zeros, and the printer went burr. We're not seeing that at any, it's not even close. If that comes into play, I assure you, with that laser eyes focused, we will be watching to see what happens. It's not happening right now. And that's not all I have to say. It's time to drop. It's Tuesday. It's time to drop some head snack over here as we get going this morning.
Analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip a matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing. The prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. Hit the like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room. Grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Throw from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
That's right. It's a Taco Tuesday over here. Greg sharing the love this morning. Loved it over there. What's going on? Drinking the coffee while reflecting. Does Head Snack get some matcha in there? I hope so. Do you think Head Snack will make an appearance at the CTM meetup? That would be absolute fire. All right, everyone. It's good to have fun. It's good to have fun. We have William over here talking about, listen, Bitcoin realized price. I do not have any idea what Bitcoin's realized price to me. To me, Bitcoin's realized price is $55,298. Okay? By the way, Bitcoin at $55,000 is cheap. We looked at that on Twitter. He's talking about, listen, just past the 2017 all-time high for the first time reaching $20,000. For some perspective, in the 2017 bull run, realized price crossed the previous all-time high at $3,250. This was posted a couple of days ago, on the 8th of May. The reason that I'm looking at it with you is to focus on this. At this point in 2017 bull run, Bitcoin just closed the previous all-time high of $3,250. The reason I'm bringing that up to you is because we're watching Ethereum very closely track Bitcoin. These are both since inception. By the way, they both have the double wave. And now we're watching closely as Ethereum continues to track very closely the 2017 Bitcoin bull run. It's absolutely beautiful to see and to watch. And I'm aware of it. By the way, we're watching Bitcoin dominance still at 44%. It peaked this time. It peaked actually a couple of weeks ago. When I say it peaked a couple of weeks ago, you can see that currently we're right here where my mouse is. We're right here, right? This is the shakeout. And then with the top, we had that little bit of consolidation that we're going through right now, a little bit lower, right? Before we started that rip your face off, melt your face off move. This is the bottom of wave one when we positioned in. This is the peak of wave one, okay? So, as this was happening, Ethereum had already peaked, right? That's not happening right now. That's a little bit different. Continue to point that out. Ian, I love this sentence over here. He says, listen, we're not seeing Ethereum peak out versus Bitcoin like we did last time because this time it's more mature as it's tracking more Bitcoin. And we've looked at closely. You can see it down over here, how closely Ethereum continues to track Bitcoin, although tracking more price-wise the 2017 bull market run. We're going to be looking at this later in today's training session. Brad has gone ahead and put together an absolute, it's insane. I absolutely enjoyed it. I loved it. And we're looking forward to sharing with you in a little bit later this morning. By the way, you could see this morning, you could see last night the spike down into the trend line, currently holding over here. We'll look at that later together. Drunken Miller, someone mentioned this morning in the comments, Drunken Miller was all over. We're talking about Burger King hats, right? We're talking about Drunken Miller this morning on CNBC, bullish about crypto, right? Do you remember? Often this channel has deferred to Stanley Drunken Miller, the absolute legend. Throughout our year and a half, there have been certain points We've talked about Stanley, what he's saying, what he's watching over here. I pulled up this about a week ago. Been waiting to share every once in a while some of these little bits of wisdom about the markets and some not. But one of them was always pay attention to Stanley Druckenmiller, what he's thinking and doing. Trade and invest against him at your own risk. Interesting. I want to watch that interview to see what Stanley was saying this morning. This is Bitcoin balances on exchange on Coinbase, and you're seeing all of Bitcoin leaving the exchange. You know, whether or not it's institutions, high net worth individuals, and or buyers, but you're seeing the opposite happening on Binance. Ever since January, you're seeing a parabolic move of Bitcoin going on to Binance. Now, listen, what do you want to invest in? BNB or coin? Well, that's entirely up to you if you're interested in any of that. But here's a little bit of signal. Why is this happening? You know, obviously Binance offers, beautiful products, whether it's about every alt in existence. Right now, traders understand lining up alt season, right? By the way, look at this. We talked about alt season beginning approximately 6 months after the halving, right? Right around November, December. By January, you see all the Bitcoin moving on to Binance, getting ready to play that alt season over here. They also offer beautiful futures products, beautiful stuff. This is Will's log chart over here. You could see that we're coming down into the support on the weekly. More importantly, you just see price consolidating right around the all-time highs over here. It's getting ready as it consolidates halfway through the bull market for the next major move over here. And it's a major move. We're getting ready, or we're actually, the bottom was over here, right? This is when we were positioning on the first breakdown over here, exiting, positioning, getting ready over here at the bottom of the first wave, taking us in to the two waves, into the parabolic blow off top over here. We talk about very clearly, by the way, in this training session, how the model would break, what it would look like, and how we would react. This training session is a much watch. If you can't be live, we're doing it at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure that you watch the replay. By the way, in the description below is a link if you're not yet part of the Conquering the Markets program and you want to be involved, whether it's for the training sessions, whether it's for the trading course, whether it's for the Discord. It's just all thrown in together. I want you there if you're interested. What else are we looking at today? I think tomorrow I'm going to be talking about data points and the 4-year cycle. I think this is only 27 minutes. Absolute fire, but we're going to cut it short over here and keep the short after we look at some other markets. After we look at some Bitcoin 55,000 cheap, right? DXY continuing to break down out of that bear flag, right? You can see the breakdown, right? Continuing to push down. The next big level is 89.43. That's a yearly low, 12-month low. If it breaks down over there, the last bit of hope is 88.40. If it breaks down below that, we could see the dollar really devalue rapidly in this area between 88.40 and let's just call it, let me just make sure, like the first bounce could be at like 84.45. Hold on to your milkshake. It could get very bumpy. Forget that nonsense. I don't even want to go there. That's embarrassing, don't you think? That's now embarrassing. By the way, CTM was the first to call him out on that. CTM over here was the first to call him out on that. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. But you know, what is this? This is silver, right? Continuing to play out the breakout, hoping that this is the one. Again, we've had 1, 2. This is the third breakout during this consolidation. Speaking of things consolidating after a huge run up, silver's consolidating sideways, similar to Bitcoin. Bitcoin just plays out on a much faster scale. Listen, whether or not this is the one or I get stopped out at break even, time will tell. We will see. Nice to be participating. Gold here also on the move. Look at this, is beautiful. Let me do a couple of things. Let me flip this over to green. Look at over here. We are now testing a support, right? You can see the breakout, the retest, resumption up, taking out a level, right? Taking out that resistance and now retesting it. And also at the same time, testing or coming close to that trend line, a resumption off here, could be the sign of a continuation on gold. Whatever. Gold is I love gold. I absolutely love gold. I'm a gold guy. I'm not one of those Bitcoiners who are like, well, is Bitcoin superior? In my opinion, but I love gold. And guess what? Those central banks, they also love and hold gold. As we look towards the monetary system being reset some way or another, whoever holds the gold will get a seat at the table. Jordan, do you see any risks for Bitcoin from inflation? Yeah, the only risk right now is that we do enter some type of super cycle, that hyper Bitcoinization takes place. I don't foresee personally, and I'm watching all the time, that in the next 5 months we're going to enter a hyperinflation inside the US. Are we seeing inflation? Yep, for sure. They're talking about raising the price of the Whopper or the Big Mac. Excuse me. Forget Burger King and them paper hats. They're talking about raising the price of the Big Mac. The Big Mac is known as the inflation index around the world. They track the prices of what the Big Mac is sold at. Yeah, the McDonald's, Mickey D's needs to raise the price. Inflation is rampant. Listen, what else? Look, the model could break to the upside. I don't see Bitcoin breaking to the downside. We talk about very clearly during this bear market what it would mean if the model broke, how we would position, what we would do in this upcoming training session. Is that possible? Yes. Everything's possible. It's the markets. However, is there a possibility we break out to the upside, that the model breaks to the upside? If we enter hyperinflation in the US, for sure, Bitcoin's going not to the moon, not past the Milky Way. It's going absolutely like hyper speed into the outer reaches of the galaxy. We will be there every step of the way to make sure we continue to be on the right side of the trade. Everyone, we have 1 hour into our live training session. I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for spending the time today. This one was short and sweet, but it's full of lots of love. Thank you for the time. Let's go out with some Honeymoon vocals here today. That's Honeymoon's instrumental. Let me pull up the vocals over here. Intergalactic. That's interesting, right? Transitory, but first there was no sign. It became transitory till it's permanent. Let's see what happens. It's hard to get rid of that stuff once it starts inflating away. Look, if you just joined the program, if you just joined the training program, you get emailed. Check your bulk folder right away. A link to the second course module. It has the Discord link on it to enter the server on Discord. In the announcements channel on Discord, I'm going to be posting the link at exactly 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, and also it'll be emailed to you. Thank you, everybody. Beautiful session. Thank you, Michelle. Justin, have a beautiful day. Aaron, have a great day. All right, everyone. MB, the free world's got him all shook. Look at MB over here, my brother, MB. NB, lots of love to you, my brother. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you all in a little bit. Thank you for the session. Be safe, everyone. Lots of love, and I'll talk to you soon.